So if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Stop trying to buy guns on the darknet. It almost never ends well, but interestingly enough, this case had a bit of a twist. Robin Baxter, who is a 50-year-old man from Penting Crescent, Aberdeen, Scotland, was convicted of buying a Glock, ammunition, and having it shipped to him, of course from the States, from a darknet vendor, supposedly. That's what he says. At his sentencing, the judge essentially told him that he'd be receiving a custodial sentence or incarcerative sentence in order to deter other people from similar actions. The judge noted Baxter would have faced 50 months of imprisonment had he gone to trial. Like, wow, big deal. We get mandatory minimums here in the States of 5 years. That's with a plea, by the way. However, due to his guilty plea, the sentence was reduced to 37 months. The judge acknowledged that, Baxter had been dealing with numerous physical and mental health issues. And we could definitely use such understanding judges here in the United States. A staggering 62.7% of Americans who are incarcerated form, some kind of mental illness or have some kind of mental illness. And it actually works out that around 3 out of 5 of every inmate or convict develop some form of mental health issues. Now, Baxter admitted to attempting to acquire the gun and ammunition on June 29th. Along with the pistol, he also tried to get 200 rounds of ammunition destined for delivery to his house. The Department of Homeland Security apparently wasn't having it. They intercepted his package, which they classified as suspicious. They replaced the gun with a dummy gun and sent that along its way to, most likely a controlled delivery. In addition to the 200 rounds of ammo, the package also contained a laser sight and a silencer, all ingeniously hidden inside a jukebox, which, when interrogated, Baxter initially claimed that he didn't know the package contained weapons.
I see nothing. I know nothing.
However, he later changed this statement, and he confessed that he had basically incurred this $3,000 debt to his cannabis vendor. Now, this wasn't the guy down the street that could beat him up. It was supposedly a darknet vendor who ordered the Glock and, had it sent to this guy to pay the debt, and Baxter agreed to receive and hold the package until the vendor could collect it. So the vendor put out his own money, I guess. All right, and but there are a few inconsistencies here besides that in Baxter's story. First, a darknet vendor is super unlikely to give credit to anyone, as collecting is impossible. Can you imagine borrowing money anonymously? First off, now let me know in the comments if you believe this or what you think of this, because for me it's just totally unbelievable. As a former darknet vendor, I can tell you that 95% of the time, if someone's selling firearms on the darknet, they're likely to be feds. If Baxter really bought a pistol from someone on the darknet, then he was extraordinarily lucky to find the rare legitimate vendor that exists. My money's on the fact that he ordered from a fed. That's what gave them reasonable suspicion, probable cause to be able to open that package. That brings me to my third point. Why order a gun on the darknet at all? If you do a little research, you'd quickly find out about things like the FGC-9 or Gun Control 9mm, a fully printable submachine gun that you can create with any 3D printer. And if that's not good enough for you and you're like, well, I want it to be metal, you could alternatively consider a Ghost Gunner 3, which can now manufacture 0% lower receivers. What's that? We're not getting into that right now. If you want to know about that, hit me up in the comments and I'll explain a little bit of it as best as I can. I'm a noob too. In the end, Baxter received 3 years and 1 month in prison. And really the issue that I have here, besides all the glaring, ridiculousness, is will Baxter get out and still owe this $3,000 to the mystery darknet vendor? Is the mystery darknet vendor, when he gets out, gonna turn around now and spend another $5,000 maybe by the time he gets out with inflation to get an AK with a silencer and a laser scope, and maybe he'll add a shell catcher this time? It's that's crazy, man. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Baxter's gonna owe interest? Drop a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.